So we actually jump in that call in between when there's a scam actually in progress and stop it right there. That is really the only way to stop it. Imagine just you lost everything. Here's what she says. She woke up in the morning, brushed her teeth, and got right on the phone calls and started to call as many lawyers as she can. All of them said, forget it, you're not getting your money back, there's no way. Even the smartest person on a bad day can lose everything with one mistake, right? One click, one OTP, you're gone. It's not that you're stupid, trust me, but everybody makes mistakes, but it shouldn't be the last mistake you make in your life, right? Just go navigate the legal system. No, you're gonna get death threats if you're in this business. And we say bring it on, literally, to the scammer.
Welcome back to the Hustle and Grind podcast, the show where we dig into why real entrepreneurs trade comfort for conviction. This isn't about vanity metrics or overnight success. It's about the stories behind building a reputation that actually matters. I'm your host, Andrew, keynote architect, platform builder, and fellow founder in the trenches. Today, I'm sitting down with Mikiv Bhansali, the visionary who takes brands from scratch to multi-million-dollar operations, specifically known for scaling Tech Warehouse from $100,000 to nearly $10 million in revenue. So Mikiv, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We're going to be talking about a really interesting and a very, very timely topic now, and that is scams. There are so many scams and so many bad actors out there, and I think they're getting smarter and smarter every day. And so I'm really excited to have you on today, talk about Rondesse, talk about what you're doing to fight it. So first of all, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Obviously, as you can tell, I love talking about this, and it's really important to spread the word. I don't think any other topic needs more awareness than this specific one. A lot of people are simply not well informed, and really timely help could save their lives. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be on here, and I thank you for taking the time to give us an opportunity here.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things about scams is and I've had friends who are scammed out of large sums of money. It's hard for us to think about that. We don't like to think about it. It's scary because there's nothing police can do sometimes about this because these are bad actors working in foreign countries. And while I think there's been some efforts put forward to try to do it, your company has really come up with a really great solution to be able to actually help and go beyond what the standards are out there. So talk to me a little bit about how Rondesse, some of the ways that you've been successful in helping to combat online scams.
Absolutely. The reason we, thought about this and brought it to fruition simply was initially because everybody was fed up, right? The whole, if you see, in my opinion, this is the largest pandemic that the world is facing. And I don't say that lightly simply because of the fact that lives and livelihoods are being lost every day. I'm talking about people losing their retirement, people simply, with one click, they lose everything they have. And honestly, they could have been saved. There was a way to save them, and this is what we call Rondesse real-time interception. So we actually jump in that call in between when there's a scam actually in progress and stop it right there. That is really the only way to stop it. And if you've been unlucky enough to actually lose money to a scammer, I'll say there is finally hope. There is a paradigm shift, and we've proven that. So Rondesse, to go really quickly, and the fact that we're a security company, we've got in-house private investigators, certified ethical hackers, and we've got professionals that work with crypto companies such as Chainalysis. We're Chainalysis certified. So that's one thing, but we also have Rondesse Legal, right? So it has to be legally prosecuted. I can't scam a scammer as much as I want to. I can't hack a hacker as much as I want to, because if I do that, the customer is simply not going to get his money back. The victim is not going to be restituted. The court will throw it out of the window, right? So we got to do forensics in the right way. So, okay, what do we have? We have Rondesse Legal. We have in-house law enforcement. This is a big change because we recently had a meeting with the GBI. We've spoken to the FBI. We worked with the Virginia Bureau of Investigation, and we actually supplied them technology to get their job done. So this changes a lot of the things, and we've got a lot of success stories to really share. We've saved lives, and when we entered the fray, people had lost complete hope, and we've actually made arrests in India as far as that. We've got investigations running in Nigeria parallelly, and we've not only arrested people in these foreign countries, we've got accounts frozen, we've got restitution on the way, and it's been a great. More than anything, it's been very satisfactory to help elders, to help senior citizens, to help mentally disabled, and we've done all of it. We've already done all of this, and we haven't even touched this yet. So, this is some of what we've already achieved, and then I can go into more specifics of case studies as the show goes on.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that sets you folks apart too, though, is that you've successfully recovered some of these funds. And that is not an easy feat, especially when you're working in other countries like India, Pakistan, or some other places where these scammers come out of. The legendary Nigerian prince.
He's still alive, believe it or not. I thought he'd be dead, but he's still alive. He's still alive. He lives. He's immortal. Exactly. Unfortunate, but what can you do? You really can't do anything. So what we say is it's really important. So the Rondesse app, which is it's in beta right now, and it's once it's absolutely launched, although the features are already live, what does it do? So the one feature, forget about everything else, but the one thing that it does is you finally have someone to count on real time, right? So here that's the biggest thing. So let me give you a couple of examples here. There was this guy that sent an inquiry to Bank of America. That's his account. So he has an account there, checking account. He asked about a certain transaction, and they said they'll investigate that and get back, right? Okay. 20 minutes later, he gets a call, and the number flashing on his phone is a number on the back of his debit card. There's no way that person is going to know, oh, this can be a scam. No, I called in. So the action was initiated on my end. So it's important to know that these scammers know what you're doing, right? There's only two kind of people. One type of person is the person that knows he's compromised, and the other type of person is the person that he doesn't know that he's compromised. But everybody's compromised in some way. I don't care who you are, you're compromised in some way. So, so this guy gets a call back from this person, and that person says, okay, well, we got this query, and all we need is an OTP to access the system, because we'd get out. And Bank of America does that on the phone anyways. It's not that, they send you an OTP. So there's no way that person's going to think. But here's the thing. We trained the customer, because he was part of Rondesse, we trained him to say that if there was I don't care if your daughter calls you or your son calls you, when there's a transaction going on this way, you hit the SOS button. So he actually remembered that and hit the SOS button. And Rondesse intercepted. Within minutes we knew it was fraudulent, and his account was saved. Now that would have been the end of his account. That OTP would have transferred close to 75,000 based on what he was seeing. So that was the end of his life. That's one. We've got a lot of other situations where we've literally squashed the scam right there and then. And some of the success stories, like I said, is there was this widow, and you can look at this article up on USA Today. It was a pretty big deal because it was a first ever. There's this widow that was scammed for $1.3 million. She's in Florida. She just recently lost her husband to COVID, and it was, it's as heartbreaking as it can get. If you speak to her, and she's actually spoken on some of the interviews, it brings you to tears. So once she was scammed, she contacted 42 law firms. Imagine, just you lost everything. Here's what she said. She woke up in the morning, brushed her teeth, and got right on the phone calls and started to call as many lawyers as she can. All of them said, forget it. You're not getting your money back. There's no way. She said, I'm going to go on the streets of India if I've got to and find these guys. That was her conviction, literally her conviction. So following that conviction, even the lawyer said no. She wrote a letter to the attorney general, who then sent the Secret Service. So she knew what she's doing. Yeah. And even the smartest person on a bad day can lose everything with one mistake, right? One click, one OTP, you're gone. It's not that you're stupid, trust me. But everybody makes mistakes, but it shouldn't be the last mistake you make in your life, right? Yeah. So one Secret Service did a little bit of an investigation. They said we can't do anything out of our jurisdiction. That is the biggest issue right now that we're facing. The FBI keeps saying crimes are being underreported, cybercrime. The FTC is saying the same thing. We'll get to that a little bit later. But once everybody gave up, it's important to note here that law enforcement suggested that the only people that can help you in this case, from what I've seen, is Rondesse. So give them a call and see what happens. She called in, long story short, within a few months. And this is, again, like I say first, because in India, try navigating that system and try getting SWAT teams down there. If you've seen The Beekeeper, it's actually worse than that. The situation is actually worse than that. Beekeeper is actually watered down. Believe me when I say that. So really, in about 4 months, we made about 25 arrests, 21 accounts were frozen, and our lawyers received death threats. You got to understand, you got to go through that even, not just the part where you go through the legal. It's not as simple as, just go navigate the legal system. No, you're going to get death threats if you're in this business. And, we say, bring it on, literally, to the scammer. We say this every day. So when those arrests were made, $850,000 were frozen. They were there, and the Indian government worked on repatriation. Not only that, the Enforcement Directorate, which is the Department of Justice counterpart in India, spoke to the victim one-on-one on a video call, and that make she's like, I feel angels have literally fallen on me after being in such a horrible situation. Gave her hope. She's now one of my closest friends as well. So it's amazing how the whole thing, falls together if you are committed. And this comes down to the part where, are you willing to step out of your comfort zone each and every time, right? So that's what our motto was. I used to always say, convenience is success's most potent limiters. So it really limits success a lot because you want to do things in a convenient way. We went the other way around completely. So these are the success stories. There's a lot more, and we're increasing our entire footprint to the point where we're asking the. In fact, we were on a training with the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, just about a week ago, and we're working on training sessions to bring out awareness with them and help them. Because honestly, like law enforcement says, we can only do this much. After that, we've got to pass it on to Batman. So that's where we come in pretty much.
Awesome. So I always like to get into the deeper story about how you got involved with this. So you already started another company. This is you've targeted multiple companies. We'll put it that way. And so you have this. This is your newest child, if you will, because our companies really are our children, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh God.
How did you do this? Like, what made you want to go into this? What were the sequence of events that made you want to go into this world?
Well, when you're in technology, we've been in technology for over 20 years now, so 2 decades. Our first company, Cashier Works USA, was incorporated back in around 99. And then at that point, we were exporting technology, creating software, writing code all the time. As we progressed, we hit our peak. We did around 10 million in revenue with our second company, which is Tech Warehouse. I've been a serial entrepreneur, bought and sold companies, and that's pretty much what I do, scale. And with Tech Warehouse, what we saw is the biggest issue we're seeing here is scam and fraud. I mean, and that's where nothing is being done or nothing can be done, right? So let me give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. Have you ever heard of Salt Typhoon?
No.
So they're a Chinese hacker group, right? Right now, they're into 9 telecom companies in the United States. I'm talking about 9. So forget about all the big ones, but even the small ones. So they're in your system. They've heard, Andrew, they've heard your conversations with your loved ones, your accountant, maybe your lawyer, right? So they've compromised not only 9 telecom companies, but they've compromised the Department of Treasury. They've compromised law enforcement. And guess what the FBI statement was? We don't even know how deep they are right now, so forget about getting them out of the system. We don't even know what we're dealing with right now. Yeah. So this is how helpless, and this is on a national level. We're talking about national security here. How are you going to protect a senior citizen or a disabled veteran or a disabled person? So this is what I saw. I really saw that this is really a problem where there doesn't seem to be any sort of solution and there's no sort of system. Now, one of the biggest issues, and I say this from research, core deep research, is that there's not one entity that handles scam and fraud in the United States, right? The FTC is passing over the FBI. There needs to be, so there's a systemic problem here, big systemic problem. Our laws are outdated in terms of dealing with the system, so they can't do that. So I saw that the laws were outdated. I saw that the fact that there's not one system. Law enforcement is helpless in many ways. So all of this brought me to, okay, what do? We need to create a core system here, and we need to create a legal network. So right now, Rondesse Legal, which is the legal side, has an attorney network of over 3,000 attorneys worldwide. Right, and that works in conjunction with Rondess to bring criminals to justice. And then we have all the outside agencies. We have in-house law enforcement. So that's what really got me the passion to help elders. I, as a child, was extremely close to my grandparents, and nothing kind of stirs me up more than seeing an old person in distress. Or at this point, when I see this, it completely helpless. I mean, again, I told you, I keep referring to Beekeeper, but it's actually watered down. You saw how the lady gave her life. And we've saved, at that very point, we've entered the fray. Just when they're about to take their life or just when they're about to give up, they've sent messages to their kids saying that, take care of so-and-so, always love you. And that's heartbreaking. And we're like, wait. Before you do that, Give us a chance. That's all we say, right? So we come in at that point, and so this was a really passionate thing for me. And so honestly, I put all my resources from Tech Warehouse, from Cashier, from the other companies into Rondesse, and to create a shield. So what Rondesse does is creates a shield around you. You know the different types of scams there are, right? Imposter scams, romance scams, all of those scams. You're going to be overwhelmed if you enter this situation and not knowing, okay, who am I supposed to go? Which department for the romance scams? Which department for imposter scams? Which department for real estate scams? No, there's one for all now. So what we have done is created a concierge system. You have one point of contact, you speak to that person, and that person takes care of everything for you, pretty much.
Interesting. And I think that's another part is there's so many different types of scam out there that it's really difficult to try to figure out exactly which ones goes where, and each one has to be handled slightly differently, and maybe coming from different areas. And so that's really awesome, man. So you basically took everything that you had from these previous companies and put it back into this one because it was a real passion project for you. Awesome, man. Yeah. So I think that's one of those things where it's so. What was it like building this? So that you have a massive infrastructure here. I mean, and I think you built it pretty quickly where you now have internal law enforcement. You now have a platform, somebody on an app can hit a button, an SOS button, and immediately get one of your folks on a phone call. That's pretty significant infrastructure. How did you build that? Like, what was the process to go through building that?
I'll tell you this, you don't have balls of steel, don't even try it. Yeah. So that's sorry to be the blunt, but yeah. Exactly. We had all these great kind of hairstyles earlier, but when you start building these companies, you start to say, you know what, the best look is a ball look. Actually, I don't care what you say. Yeah, let's just a ball look is the best. And I got this way recently, so I tried everything. I'm like, you know what, forget it. It's not worth the effort. I'd rather put that effort back in my company. So it was everything that you can imagine in terms of emotional highs, emotional lows, things. The system is going against you, and that makes me more excited when honestly that happens, because I know that I'm doing something novel. And the more people told me, honestly, even when with Tech Warehouse, right, it was a laptop distribution business which had special technology and special partnerships, right, all across the United States, tier 1 with HP, Dell, Lenovo. So I was told a lot of the times that this is not going. You don't have an edge here. This is not going to get anywhere. I entered the fray when they were doing about 100,000 in revenue annually, and then I said I'll do around 2.6, and I did 4.6, and then I said I'll do about 5, and I hit 10. So this was when they were saying it's not possible. So if you want to do something that's like I said, my passion is elders, right? To make sure that they're safe. It's very important to me that I see that, and I simply. You wanted to create something absolutely, I'd say, unprecedented, and to see the challenges at every point of time. I mean, you call law enforcement a lot of times, you try to work with them, and they're like, no, we can't work with you. Click, right? And I'm like, why not? This is identity theft. So if it's identity, so for example, there's an identity theft issue. But there's no victim. I'm like, there is a victim. The identity of this person has been compromised, so that he doesn't have to lose money. Yeah. Why don't you understand this? He can and will lose money. He will lose his identity. By the way, Social Security numbers are sold for $5 on the dark web. So this is going to be one of those, and then he's going to lose everything. He's going to have to freeze his credit, and then God knows what, right? And this keeps happening. So why are you saying? Do you agree with me that identity theft is a federal offense? They're like, yes. So I said, what makes you not do? And then I send them to the victim's house to write a police report after they said no. So that's the passion that you got to go after this with, and everyone's going to fight you. I had officers they're like, nah, man, we're pushing too much. I'm like, you're fired. Get out. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't want that person in my company. Are you willing to do whatever it takes for the customer? Yes or no? For the victim? Yes or no? Do whatever, meaning I do mean whatever. Right? Yeah. So this is the passion that we built the company with. And like I said, there was challenges everywhere. Now when we call law enforcement, it's a different story. Mm-hmm. So that was the vision. And everybody tells me, well, I think the most important thing is vision, right? You got to see it. Everybody says, well, I'll believe it when I see it. Nah. You got to see it before you can believe it. So that's extremely, extremely important. And that's what people don't get. If it's a novel thing, if it's a grand thing, you got to be able to see it. So the vision and all these guys coming together, the private investigators, the certified ethical hackers, the lawyers, which is a problem in its own. I don't know how many lawyers you deal with, but imagine having a lawyer in multiple states, and it's a mess. And they think that they have a completely sometimes different mentality. And I joke around this with our own lawyers all the time, and they agree with me. So getting all those guys together was a nightmare, and everyone was like, "Man, this is just not going to happen." And we made it happen, and we're just growing and growing and growing with that situation. So that's what it felt like, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I think you said something really interesting in there, and having dealt with visionaries and being a visionary is, I think, a lot of times we have this vision in our head for something that's going to happen, and one of my favorite phrases I once heard was Adam Savage, who one day said, "I reject your reality and I substitute my own," and I think that really sums up entrepreneurs. It's like, I reject the reality that law enforcement can't do anything. I reject the reality that these people are just, there's nothing, they're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to find a way to make this money back again. You rejected that reality and you substituted your own, and your own was just rapidly going for whatever has to happen to protect these people. And I think that's very valiant.
Absolutely. I think rejecting reality is part of, if you really want to achieve something great in life, or that could be your dream. It doesn't have to be something as complicated as Rondesse. You have to reject reality every time, because everybody's going to bring you down at every point in time, and they're going to come up with numbers all the time and projections. They're going to come up with the fact, oh, this is gone. I'm not saying be stupid. Do your due diligence completely. That's very important. So numbers don't lie. That's correct. But preparation and numbers and projections only going to get you so far. Eventually, you have to have that passion to go after what you really believe in, right? So at every point in time when it's I hate to take quotes from movies all the time, but the fact is that it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It is if you can keep getting back up, right? The resilience.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing for me, resilience. I had people come and tell me Rondess is a piece of crap, right? So my reaction to that, it's not going to work. This is in the early stages. So my reaction to that wasn't like, how dare you say that about my dream? I'm like, okay, so you're not on board. Thank you very much. Let me move on. So that sort of thing has to happen. And if you keep wavering and waffling when you hear that sort of criticism, you're not really going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So and this is a very good example, because remember, it wasn't just normal experts telling me; it was law enforcement telling me, yeah, this is not, and it was lawyers. So lawyers are supposed to advise you, right? They're like, this doesn't add up. This is not going to get there. We're never going to get law enforcement to collaborate. And look at us now. We've got law enforcement across the board. We've got not only federal law enforcement, local law enforcement. We've got deputies and detectives working with citizens to avoid further harassment. So even the local police station couldn't help, but we've got a detective, which we actually told the victim here, if you have an issue, call up this detective. He's going to be available. And we got that coordinated. So they're like blown away. And, and what is this? This is just going after something where you see there's a broken system. You're trying to fix it with the resources you have. And that's never going to change for us. So we're just going to keep making it better.
Exactly. And I think that's something that entrepreneurs have. We have this very special space in the world where we're the ones who are crazy enough with this vision to be able to say, no, I reject your reality. I substitute my own. And sometimes just sheer freaking grit and stubbornness, we will make it work.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's all we have is grit and stubbornness.
Sometimes that's all you have in your bag. Or when we start, that's so true. Because when we were starting off, and this is a great example, I didn't have any projections. I had projections, but I didn't have any sales to back them up. So what do you really have? You're getting screwed by the board. You're getting screwed by investors coming in, and you need funding, because you're looking at it to be that big, right? Mm-hmm. And all you got is your pair. Really, right? So you gotta really hold on to that, take the bull by the horns or balls or whatever you want to call it, and you gotta flip it over. You gotta just keep going. So we're not new to that. We've done that in several sort of ventures. I'll tell you, this was definitely, Rondesse was the hardest to get to this point, which is why it's so much more satisfactory. Yeah. But earlier we were just selling stuff. Now we're saving lives. So getting in the business of saving lives is a lot more. It gives you a lot more passion to go after. And I'm just glad the way things have worked out and are working out. And we just look forward to growing this more, so everybody is saved. pretty much.
So I love hearing this. I love the answers to these questions. So one I love to ask, though, is where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Like, what do you see happening in 5 years?
In 5 years from now, I see Rondesse being a household brand where it is the standard for protection in terms of any sort of harassment, fraud, or any distress. Our tagline is innovating peace of mind. And that's really important to understand. So we also have forensic accountants on. So we have our own forensic accountant firm, right? The reason we've done all of this, and you're like, why accountant firm? Because we want to create that peace of mind overall, right? So in 5 years, we see that all this other bullshit that you're seeing in the market right now, which is, oh, I'm not going to take any names. I don't really care about the ramifications, but I'm still not going to take any names. But they're saying, so this is a great way to earn money for corporations, right? You say that we give you this protection, and all of it is just one AI system that is, it treats you as a number at the end of the equation, and you can't. It doesn't protect any sort of phishing. It doesn't protect anything. What we're doing is creating a hybrid system where AI augments our abilities, but this is humane interaction. So everybody's gone away from that. I've actually come towards that because I feel that that's what people really want now. They're so fed up of being treated as a number on the other side. What they really want is, okay, if I'm screwed and I'm about to die, I don't want to talk to an AI bot. All right, I'd rather die than speak to an AI bot, right? You're not a person. Why am I speaking to you when I'm emotionally destroyed? And that's what Rondesse brings to the table. It brings the concierges, it brings real people, and it allows them to use technology to really help the person and the situation. So this is not about earning money. This is about saving people. If I could create an AI that could have done most of this and still earned a lot of money through it. It's not so. But where I've been hit by even investors like, okay, you could automate this process. I don't want to automate that process because I want to keep humanity in there. Yeah. So that's where I see everybody seeing this over a period of 2 to 3 years, and in 5 years I see that being a household situation where you don't think twice, and scams go down, right? We bring it down. We bring down that big, untouchable, right now, which it seems untouchable Goliath. We want to bring that down. So that's my goal.
Awesome. Mikiv, you've got an amazing tool in front of you. You've got an amazing company doing absolutely good work. I applaud you. Thank you so much for being on today. Keep this up. It is so necessary in this day and age. The scams have become such a huge issue and nobody thinks there's any way to actually stop them. And so it's absolutely amazing to see somebody come in and say, yes, we can. So thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle and Grind podcast, where we unpack what it really takes to build something that matters. If today's conversation hit home, do me a favor. Share it with someone who's in the trenches too. And if you're building your own brand, platform, or message and want help turning that story into serious authority, head over to theauthorityforge.com to see how we can help. Until next time, keep showing up, keep shipping, and keep chasing the work that sets you on fire. I'm Andrew, and this was the Hustle and Grind podcast.